Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
And we are
the Happy Healthy Guys.
Yes. So welcome to the 100th episode of the Happy Healthy Life podcast.
We did it. Are you kidding me? This is 100.
This is 100.
I love it.
Yep. And today we're going to be diving into the future of wellness with a question that could change your life. You want to hear the question?
I do.
All right.
I'm all ears.
What is the one thing that's standing between you and the metabolism of your dreams in 2025? You're going to want to stick around because we have the answers, and the answers might just surprise you. We're going to help you unlock the key to lasting health and vitality. So stick around.
This is going to be a great episode. I mean, it's number 100. It's got to be great.
Yes.
We're going to deliver today, guys. So hang in here.
So we're going to keep ourselves on our toes. So what we're going to do with today's segment, we thought it'd be fun to see what the most relevant health topics are to health and wellness. Right now, we're going to cruise the internet today.
CTI.
To see the information that is being given to you as listeners, to the just to everyone out there. It was interesting. We were talking yesterday. We were interviewed on another podcast, and the interviewer happened to be from Canada.
Yeah.
And
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland? Newfoundland.
Newfoundland?
If you know how to pronounce that, let us know in the chat.
Our Canadian friends,
idea.
let us know. Yeah.
However, he was even talking about, why is it that people are, that they do the things that they do. And we started talking about just misinformation, miseducation. And then people continue to keep on following that advice. And it's no wonder, because a lot of the things, if you Googled health, there's no telling what it is that you're going to find. And so today's going to kind of be like a buffet where you actually don't even know what's under the lid of what it is that you're going to be eating. So we're just going to put in to the search engine, give us relevant health topics.
Okay.
So that we know the information that's being given out today as correct health information. So I think one of the challenges that we face right now is that it's so easy for people to be able to consult with Google. Dr. Google for their health information. And I remember back in the day, though, how you would just Google different health information on Google. And it's like, if you've ever done this before, maybe you've got some kind of an ailment, you've got like some kind of an ache or a pain, and you start and you Google whatever that ache or pain is. Do you ever notice that all roads always lead to cancer?
And you're going to die. One of them. Yeah, pretty much.
You're like, oh my God, I had some ringing in my ear. Oh my gosh, I've got brain cancer.
No, that's where your head goes immediately. But we're in a culture where, really, what does health even mean? It's a funny tool. If you even just if you go into your phone and let's say you're texting somebody and you go to the gifts and you type in health, what do you think pops up in the gift section when you type in the word health?
No clue, but I want to know.
Well, I'll show you. I've got all the little emojis here. The first one is a person wearing a mask, the face with the mask on it. You've got a hospital. You've got a stethoscope. You've got the you've got the snakes twirling around the dagger, the medical symbol, and you've got medical pictures of doctors in white coats. And that's what health is.
Those are the emojis that you get?
This is it. I just typed it in. This is what you got. Look at that.
That's all sickness.
It's all disease. It's all sickness. It's all reactive. It's all reductionist. It's all Newtonian mechanistic philosophies where disease is the normal and health is just some far out there wild pitch dream that really nobody gets to qualify for when it's actually the opposite.
That is crazy. Okay, here's the first one that we got that pops up. This is from Time Magazine, okay? Time Magazine says the health risks and benefits of weight loss drugs. All right.
This ought to be good.
So it says the newest weight loss drugs, Wegovy, Zep-bound are incredibly popular, but doctors are still learning about all the ways they affect the body, both helpful and harmful, beyond reducing weight. In a report published in Natural Medicine, Dr. Zayed Ali, Chief of Research and Development at the VA and St. Louis Healthcare System and clinical epidemiologist at Washington University School of Medicine, sounds like a smart dude, right? And his colleagues performed
He's a
comprehensive
brainwashed,
analysis
educated dude. Yeah.
on the health outcomes associated with the drugs known as GLP-1 receptor agonists. The medications began as a diabetes treatment to lower blood glucose levels and have now been approved to help people without diabetes lose weight. Insane. So, what is that paragraph right there automatically telling us as we're looking at this through the lens? Okay, we'll look at it at two different lenses. Okay, let's look at it at the lens of where we come from in a true health background, right? That God doesn't need any help, He just needs no interference, right?
Health
Greater
is the
is
normal.
He
Yep.
who is in you than he who is outside of you, or he who is in the world.
Yeah, the greatest doctor is obviously on the inside. Health is the normal, disease is the abnormal. Really, I mean, we could go down this road all day. Health and disease are the exact same thing, the body doing the right thing under the circumstances. So when you look at life and health that way, it's really easy to decipher an article like this and go, yeah, this is another one of the games they're running on everybody to get them hooked onto a lifelong medication dependence. I mean, that's all I can see here. And what's even more interesting is at this point in in history with medicine and all the doctors and all the drugs and all the money that's been generated and all the research, we still don't have one cure for any one said disease. Not one.
No, not at all. So then that means if you're hearing us correctly, right, that your body has an ability to be able to heal on its own, then it asks the question, why would I need a medication to lose weight in the first place? Because medications are just covering up symptoms. And if medications are just going to cover up symptoms, and they're already talking in the article about the negative effects of it, so they know that there are negative side effects to these drugs. Well, then why would I want to cover up a symptom if my body already knows what to do? So what's causing would be a better question, is what's causing my body to not have the ability to lose the weight?
Yeah, well, here's what you don't always have to know what the cause is to know what's not causing it. Right?
Sure.
So here's what we do know, that obesity is not a deficiency of any type of medication. And when we look at the track record, like we just were discussing, when you've got hundreds of trillions of dollars that have been generated and spent and researched on any and all conditions, and we still don't have one cure, we already know that this is not going to be a road that we're going down that's going to find a cure for obesity, because obesity isn't one singular drug deficiency that is the cause. So I know that we know there's a lot of reasons why people get sick, why they get obese, but none of them, once again, go back to, hey, you have a genetic condition, you have you got dealt a bad poker hand, you're just getting older, and now there's a drug you're going to take to fix this problem. Because you said it earlier, they're called side effects, but really there's no such thing as a side effect. That's a pharmaceutical term. There's cause and effect. And I saw an image the other day talking about these drugs, and it showed this like stick figure of a person that obviously could tell was overweight. And then it said taking GLP-1 drugs, and now you got the stick figure that's skinny. And then the next figure was this huge stick figure person, and it said, this is the person once they've come off GLP-1 drugs. So you go from obese and unhealthy to still even more unhealthy and skinny to actually being bigger than you ever were, because that's what we're going to see happen as we're destroying the metabolic profile of all of these people who, once again, don't have a drug deficiency.
So one of the things that I was curious about as well, and here's where, if you look at the numbers, okay, if you look at the statistics, and if they already know that there's negative side effects, and they know that all the drug is doing is just covering up a symptom, meanwhile your body is getting more unhealthy and more unhealthy. and it was used for diabetes to begin with, and then all of a sudden it was used for weight loss. And so why would that be? Well, when you look at the population in the United States of 38.4 million people back in 2021, 11.6% of the population had been had diabetes. Okay, versus when you look at obesity and being overweight, that number is 84%. Okay, so if you think about that, if you could get 11.6% of the population taking a diabetes medication that's covered by Medicare, it's covered by health insurance. Well, from a business perspective, from the pharmaceutical industry's perspective, if one of the side effects could be that this actually causes people to lose weight, forget about the side effects,
Mhm.
then why wouldn't we go after the overweight population, which is 84% of the population?
Yeah, it's a numbers
Right.
play, obviously, and you know that this is what you'll always see, and remember they don't make drugs for the disease. They make diseases for the drugs. So when you're making these drugs, you already know that you're going to cause other problems. And so these industries, and it sounds super nefarious and evil, but it really is they're already making the next round of drugs that's going to be designed to take on all the problems from this round of drugs. We now live in a culture where we now have a whole category of diseases that are actually caused by taking prescription drugs. And now they're making more drugs to treat the conditions that are causing you to be sick by the drugs that you're taking. It's kind of like when, Pfizer had the top two selling drugs in the world. They had Lipitor, which was a cholesterol drug. And then they knew that Lipitor caused sexual dysfunction and erectile dysfunction. So then they made the drug Viagra. And so they had the two top selling drugs, the cholesterol drugs to lower cholesterol and make everybody impotent, and then making the same drugs by the same company to treat the disease caused by taking the dang cholesterol drugs. This is how they're doing business, and it's a very, very common practice.
Yeah, it's kind of like even when they had the pandemic and people that were taking that were getting the jab, they also knew the side effect of that and the
Yeah.
side effect that it had as far as the heart goes. And then all of a sudden, those same companies were now making heart medication as
Hmm.
well. So you just
Yes.
look, it just goes back and forth and back and forth. It's just feeding the same pocket and putting money in the same
Yeah,
pockets.
it's like the other day I was telling you I saw that commercial that had one of our favorite athlete Dallas Cowboys Emmitt Smith, and they had him on there. He was actually promoting awareness and research for prostate cancer.
Yep.
And so, of course, one of the biggest sponsors of prostate cancer is a company called Depends. And so he's the Depends guy, literally driving and pulling on all the heartstrings to raise more money for prostate cancer. Well, why would the Depends company be sponsoring awareness for prostate research? Well, because when you go to a doctor with prostate cancer, they're going to rip your prostate out and you're going to be incontinent and you're going to wet yourself. So instead of actually getting to the cause of conditions, you celebrities promote another company that is now being making a product once again for the treatment of the condition that was caused by the drugs or the surgery. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The jokes
No.
literally are telling themselves at this point.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm all about people being in business, right? As far as being an entrepreneur, we're
Yeah,
entrepreneurs.
capitalists for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, capitalist for sure. I'm all about capitalism and doing it in a way that's actually ethical, right?
Hmm.
And so we, that's why we created some metabolism program, and it's not free. And so people come in because they have value for it, but what it's doing is it's changing their health for the better.
Yeah.
They're getting off of those medications, they're getting off of those drugs, and then we create more solutions to be able to help people with things like gut health, because we know how that's involved when it comes to metabolism as well, comes to decreasing your health. So those are all great things, but yeah, it's just, you said it earlier, it is pure evil when your goal is to make people sicker and sicker and sicker so that you can continue to keep on making more and more money. That's insane to me.
Yeah, and we're not saying that, hey, listen, everybody who's in the medical system are evil
Not at
people.
all.
It's the system that's corrupt. The system isn't set up to create healthy people because every foundational principle that Western medicine doctors practice under everything that they think and have been taught is 100% wrong. And I'm telling you everything. Every single foundational belief that they have is 100% wrong. And if you have a foundational belief about health and it's wrong, then everything you're going to do to help that person get better, it can't help them get to the cause of the problem. And more than likely, and this is what we're seeing now, you're going to be hurting and harming more people than you're helping. Right now, we do have a net death benefit with our medical system. That means that the whole system went away today. Doctors, hospitals, drug companies, the whole gamut. If it all went away today, there would be some people who would die, but more people would live. More people would live right now if we had no system. It's like you see those studies where doctors go on strike and the death rate decreases, because you just can't administer that type of strategy of drugs and surgery and looking at the body as broken and get to a healthy outcome. So it all goes back to, you have to take responsibility for your health, and you can't turn it over, right? You can't,
Mm.
don't turn it over to us. Don't turn it over to anybody. You're the one who's in charge of your health. You already have the best doctor inside of you. But if you turn it over to an insurance company or to a medical system that only makes money when you are sick, you're in big trouble, and you're going to learn the hard way. Some of you have. But guys, don't let that be the reason, or don't wait till crisis hits to make the change. Make the change right now. Trust me, I know. Unfortunately, a lot of us wait till the crisis to get out of the system and to wake up and start taking ownership of our health.
Yeah, and it's insane too because once again, don't go to Google to be able to get health advice either, because the next study says this is, I'm like literally pulling up the top searches when it comes to health in 2025. This one right here from Washington U Medicine study identifies benefits risks linked to popular weight loss drugs. Again, another GLP-1 article. This one right here, CBC, weight loss drugs like Ozempic could also help fight dementia, but raise other health risks.
Oh God.
Study says.
Yeah.
That's the next one here. Let's see, what else do we got here? We talk the Time
By the way,
magazine
how can
comes
you
up
just
again.
rattle off that stuff like it helps fight dementia? Where's the evidence that this experimental drug, they really all are, because they all hurt people, then they're pulled off the market and black labeled? Where's the research? That's a headline that just grabs people and makes them trust something. How could you say that it helps with Alzheimer's or any of these cognitive decline issues? Where's the science behind that?
There is
Science really just makes itself up these days. You can say anything, I guess, if you've got an MD behind your name.
Well, here's where the science comes from. The science comes from all of the money that's being put into the research. You guys also realize and understand that these white paper research articles are what the pharmaceutical drug reps use, and the headlines on these articles, that's what they use for their
Wow.
marketing. That's what they use when they go into the doctor's offices. Hey, here's what this research study shows. You have to understand that when they create these research studies, they create them with the end in mind already. They already have the result that they want. They manipulate the numbers so that they can be able to get that result in
Mhm.
order to be able to then manipulate those doctors into prescribing that medication to their patients. You got to remember, these companies are traded on Wall Street.
Yeah.
These are for profit. The
Yeah.
biggest profiting centers in the United States. We go back into the history of all the stuff and how it happened, but it is absolutely insane. So you just have to understand that.
Yeah, they
Um,
got a responsibility to make money for their shareholders, right?
that's completely
So
exactly
you
it.
grow
So
the business.
yeah.
And the way you grow the business is you create more diseases that require more drugs. God, how many drugs now do we have on the market, over the counter and prescription? Who even knows right now? And all the different, there's a new disease. If you've noticed, they're promoting. Seems like every week or two, there's a new disease they're driving through social media and Google and TV. They're literally just like, here's the whole latest disease. If you've got these symptoms, then you're going to need this drug. It literally is ridiculous.
Okay, here's another one. All right, so this is in the Times. This one says, "Is your heart at risk from fatty muscles?" A new study has highlighted the dangers of fat buried deep within our muscles. This exercise plan will help to reduce intermuscular fat and build power. Let's see what it says. Most of us are aware of the buildup of visceral fat stored up around the internal organs is linked to metabolic disease, including type 2 diabetes. But this week, researchers from Harvard University warned that fat hidden within our muscles also poses a significant medical risk. And then it goes on to talk about that. This is one of the things that we've been talking about visceral fat forever.
Hmm.
It seems like, and the dangers of visceral fat. And I would think that as you go through this article right here, it's going to show that exercise is because it's associated with exercise, but eventually it's probably going to talk about helping to control it. And here it is.
Yeah,
The muscle
controlling.
tissue
Yep.
itself,
Blood
plays a
sugar.
key role in metabolic health, helping to control blood sugar levels and altering metabolism. So, of course, their solution for those things is going to be medication. They are saying that you should exercise, and you should exercise because exercise is good for your health, right? But when it comes to actually getting your body to burn that visceral fat and get rid of that visceral fat like it should, that's not going to do the trick on its own, and they already know that. But the only solution that they have for that is to give some kind of a medication, which still isn't actually solving that problem.
Yeah, I mean, lowering blood sugar with drugs is already, we know that's a huge scam, by the way. They already did the study. I think it was the Accord study they did back in the early 2000s where they were forcing blood sugar down with medication and people were dying like crazy. The all-cause mortalities went up through the roof when you drive down blood sugar, especially with medication. So you never want to lower blood sugar. You want to optimize your metabolism so you are insulin sensitive. And I remember back when we were in clinical practice, this was a big deal with the visceral fat. We didn't necessarily have the strategies at that time as we were kind of building out Happy Healthy and what it was going to look like. But remember how we had a lot of patients who would have a lot of a paraspinal pain. But now we know it was because that's where the visceral fat will end up into the paraspinal muscles. And so if you've got high visceral fat, it'll ingratiate itself into your paraspinal muscles. These are the muscles around your spine that help, that literally are help holding you up and protecting you with your posture. These become super inflamed and people would be in horrible pain. That's why, obviously visceral fat, when it gets into the muscle, it is a huge, huge marker for inflammation. So you just can't cut your calories to get rid of it. A lot of times you'll lose muscle when you do that. That's what these GLP-1 drugs are doing. To get to visceral fat, you've got to get to the cause of why your metabolism is not healthy, which is another reason why we developed the Happy Healthy program. Because you start getting people healthy metabolically, everything gets better.
Yeah,
And there's no drug that'll do that.
here's another one. This is how to lose weight and keep it off in 2025. You may think you're eating healthy to achieve the slim, strong body that you want, but you'll need more fiber and
Mm,
protein than you think. Again, more misinformation. They're now convincing evidence that consuming more plant-based foods is
mm.
helpful, not just for weight loss, but it also has the potential to boost your health. Higher intake of fiber, which comes naturally when you consume more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and pulses, don't know what that is, means a flourishing microbiome. In turn, a healthy gut will leave you less prone to digestive issues, viruses, and infections. Following our exercise plan and gradually increasing the amount of resistive training, which, resistance training is great for you. You'll benefit from focusing on getting good quality protein rich foods in your meals. All right. So, what are your thoughts, Dr. Randy, on this increasing your fiber that they're talking about?
We saw this shift. This happened back in the early 90s where remember everybody was being told to eat no fat, right? To go low fat and to increase your fiber per day. And if you remember when all that happened, we were cutting out, animal meat, eating low fat, eating more fiber. And as we started to do that, everybody became more constipated. So the fiber was like supposed to be the way you regulate your bowel. And remember, constipation isn't how often you go or how less often you go. It's about the quality of when you go. And when you cut healthy fats out of your diet and you eliminate those animal fats, you're going to become more constipated. Healthy fats are so important to the colon and the bowel and to the metabolism. And so fiber just became this like everybody's got to eat their fiber. I remember my dad eating all those fibrous cereals that were just, and by the way, almost all the fibrous foods, especially whole grains, are loaded with glyphosate, which destroy your gut, destroy your microbiome. but all this fiber is not fixing the problem. In fact, we've gotten worse. You've got more medications now for constipation and diarrhea and IBS and diverticulitis because they're saying eat all this fiber. Guys, remember, fiber is not an essential nutrient. It has no nutritional value. You can't break it down. You can't digest it. It bulks the colon and the bowel. I don't know that I want a bunch of fiber in my gut and my colon, bulking it up to try to get it out of me. I don't know about you, but that holdout there's not very big. I don't want a big bulky stool size trying to come out of me, causing me to have more problems. So guys, fiber can also block the body's ability to get to the nutrients that are in the food. That's why we always recommend if you're eating vegetables, you want to peel them, de-seed them, cook them, break them down, break down that cellulose, that plant fiber that can block the body's ability to even get to any of the nutrients. So, I don't eat very much fiber, and I don't have any issues with bowel movements. So fiber's not what they claim it to be. And it's definitely, you don't need to be eating it to help reduce your cholesterol. That's another myth that they tell us. But there's so many myths and strategies that they're teaching us that have just been proven to be really the theme of the month or the theme of the time. When you look back on it now, trying to eat 50 grams of fiber a day is insane. I don't know anybody that's doing well eating a bunch of plants and fiber.
A to the men on that. Just looking at another study on management of weight loss plateaus. It's talking about the same thing. And what's interesting now is that when you look at these things, because they do talk about, it says activity explores the physiological mechanisms contributing to weight loss plateaus and examines how metabolic adaptations, hormonal variations, and energy expenditure adjustments contribute to this phenomenon. They recognize that, but here's the problem. The problem is they don't have any solutions to it. The solutions that they're talking about is changing your behavioral techniques, pharmacotherapy, which is drug therapy, and bariatric surgery. Those are the solutions to this problem. Again, it goes back to treating the symptom and not addressing the cause, not addressing to why your body is not adapting to it. So I think that we can clearly see that when you do try to search for health out there on the internet, and or your friend Sally at the coffee shop, it all comes back to the same stuff. It's just covering and treating symptoms. It's not getting to the true cause of the problem, and it's not recognizing that your body already has in it what it needs to be able to heal. So I think, and in one of the articles that I had looked through as we were going through this, it talked about fasting, and it mentioned fasting and mentioned eating real food, nutrition. It talked about those things, but there's no real system that puts everything together.
Right.
So if we're going to give the listeners some things that they can be able to do to be able to address, get to the cause of the problem, get their body healing and doing what it's supposed to be doing so that they can have the metabolism of their dreams in 2025, what do you feel, Dr. Randy, are some practical steps that people can take to be able to have that dream metabolism?
Yeah, I think you just got to keep it simple. We can get too smart for our own good. Just go back and think about what kept us healthy and vibrant with a strong metabolism for thousands of years. The obesity just didn't really exist 150 years ago. So what were people eating? So we talk about eating real food, and I love that's such a powerful thing it's glossed over because we just don't think that it really matters that much. But I can tell you there's really nothing more powerful than to focus on eating real food nutrition. These are foods that if you don't eat them in a week or two, they're going to go bad. They're going to spoil. They're going to break down. If food doesn't break down or spoil, it's really probably not meant for consumption. It's probably built for shelf life. You go into a grocery store and unfortunately, 99% of what's in there, it's just not even food. It's on a shelf and it's sitting there forever. So really focus on eating real food nutrition, proteins, vegetables, and fruits. Obviously, getting good animal-based fats, avoiding seed oils. Processed food and seed oils are crippling us metabolically, and it's in everything. So you just really got to start taking responsibility and being intentional with what you're eating. But the fun part is that real food tastes amazing, and you can eat as much of it as you want, and your body will tell you that you're full. So you get that satiety. So you're not overeating. But when you consume processed food and seed oil, which actually makes you hungrier, you're going to overeat. And this is how we get into trouble. So that's step number one. Keep it very, very simple. You don't have to count your macros. You don't have to count calories. Start counting nutrients, and nutrients, bioavailable, nutrient dense nutrition is going to be animal based. So eat those ruminant animals, the lamb, the beef, the bison, the elk, the venison. Don't be as scared of butter and animal fats. Obviously, SCT oil is an animal fat rich in short chain fats. Eat these animal based foods and enjoy these foods. You don't have to eliminate carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very important to our health. You can enjoy these, just make sure you're not eating processed carbohydrates. So don't be scared of those things. Animal based nutrition. Don't be scared of a natural sugar, raw honey, maple syrup. One of my favorite treats is to, juice, fresh squeezed orange juice. Don't be scared of eating real food. And it's so delicious. It's so tasty. It's the one thing that I just do not compromise on. It's just not worth it to me to eat a bunch of crappy food and feel horrible.
Yeah, it's interesting that the gentleman that was interviewing us yesterday on his podcast was even asking. He's like, guys, what do you think about putting stevia into my coffee? Dr. Randy's question back to him was, well, why are you putting stevia in your coffee? And he's like, well, because I want it to be sweet. And so that was the next question was, well, then why not put real raw honey into it to sweeten it, and or putting maple syrup into it to sweeten it? You don't have to use stevia, but he was coming from a place that I don't want to put more calories in there, because if I put more calories into my coffee, then it's going to make me gain weight.
Yeah,
And that's just how programmed we are. And this is
totally.
somebody who's done a few rounds of our program.
Yeah, he's lost what, 50, 60 pounds?
Yeah, he's lost a lot.
Yeah.
So he is a lot more metabolically healthy, but it's so crazy because we even teach with our clients
Yeah.
all of this information, and he was still reverting back to the whole
Yeah.
calories in, calories out thing. So it's just one of those things where we have to help shift people out of that mindset that weight loss and metabolism is about calories in, calories out, move more, right? Versus moving less. It's like literally we're having to unbrainwash people from that, change their belief system. And the belief system should be that I was designed with a healthy metabolism to have a healthy metabolism for the rest of my life. I just need to understand how to be able to better adapt to all of the stuff that I've done throughout my life, because it's not something that happens overnight. It's almost like, you know what? Continue to be making bad health decisions for yourself and taking action on those bad health decisions, both consciously and unconsciously, because of like what it is that we were seeing on the internet right now, is like continuing to keep on charging a credit card that has an insane interest on it, right? So it can compounds and it keeps on going up, and the interest, unfortunately, is putting yourself at risk of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, your energy, your self-confidence, the way you look. All of those different things are the interest versus, you know what? Take a very easy step. Go to metabolismscore.com, find out how your metabolism is doing. That doesn't cost you anything. It's interest free. You can find out if you have an unhealthy metabolism, then take action. Go to, we've got a challenge coming up next week. This challenge is we're going to spend 3 days giving you our absolute best stuff, which is how many of our clients have come to understand and get into our program and have a happier, healthier life to where they're thin, have a great metabolism. Go to h2thinchallenge.com, sign up for it. Again, it's free and interest free. And then get into the program and you start our metabolism program. And now you are literally paying off that credit card. Not only are you paying off that credit card, but what you're also doing is you're doing that interest free, so no interest, and you're collecting points if you have one of those cards that have points. And here's the great thing about the points is these points come in the way of having more energy,
Right.
having more confidence, caring more about and being proud about the way you look, proud about how you feel, and really proud about the fact that you've taken control over your health. You no longer have that addiction to the food where you feel like it's controlling you. You have control over those things. You now have control over having a healthy metabolism in 2025.
Oh man, and there's something so powerful about taking ownership and control of your path and your destiny. The going back to the medical system, they really need us to have a victim mindset. We've been trying to smoke out the victim consciousness now for a very long time, but they need you to be a victim. They need you to think, hey, it's not your fault. You're getting older. It runs in your family. You just got a garbage poker hand. It's these microscopic germs that we can't find anywhere, but they're all making you sick, and we're the only people that know what to do about it. They need you to be a victim. Stop being a victim, being a victor. I want to echo what you said. Come join this challenge with us. We're going to spend 3 days with you, giving you our absolute best content. We're going to show you the roadmap on how to break out of this rut and to start investing in you, making sure that now you are becoming the leader of your journey. You are now the CEO of your health, and you're no longer turning that over to people that are way less qualified than you are to really begin to change the outcome of your life and the trajectory of your life. If not now, when's it going to be? Now is the time. So join us, h2thinchallenge.com. It's free. Come hang out with us next week. We're going to have a great time.
What's the cost of that again?
What's less than zero?
That's the number?
Yeah, 0 minus a probability of 1. That's
Yeah.
the number. That's a great fee. And trust me, don't let the free challenge fool you. It's going to be worth, I don't know. I mean, what is it worth? Priceless, they say, but I can tell you this. What does it cost to treat heart disease, cancer, diabetes, stroke, cognitive decline, arthritis, and all these chronic diseases that will bankrupt you? Remember, in America, you're one diagnosis away from going bankrupt. That's how fragile most Americans are. And if you're not there and you don't have a plan, you are going to be there. And that's the hard truth. Some people do learn the hard way. Don't be that person. Be the person that's going to take action. So come join this free challenge. We're going to give massive value, give you our absolute best. That happens next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yep. So I'll put the link into
Perfect.
the show notes. So you just click on that link, join that challenge. And thank you so much for listening to the 100th episode of the Happy Healthy Life podcast.
This is awesome. It's been fun. I'm looking forward to the next 100. So love you guys. God bless you. And we will talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.